Good morning. I'm Gregory Mason, and welcome to First Presbyterian Church for Olympia Brown Unitarian Universalist Church's service. We'll start with some announcements, and Carl Hubbard, you're up first.
Thanks, Gregory. Good morning. Next Sunday, September 22nd, our service called Living into Covenant, the Whole Story, will be held downstairs here at First Presbyterian at 10 a.m. and will be available on Zoom rather than on YouTube. Why? Because this is a special service that is personal to OBUUC with an important message about what we as a church family need to work on together as we prepare to go into another ministerial search. So again, next Sunday, downstairs, here at First Presbyterian, 10 a.m. Thank you.
From now on, you can bring your Love Pantry donations to church on Sunday morning. There will be a red wagon like this out in the hall, outside of the doors here. And the middle and high school youth will bring those upstairs and store them until they are filling the pantry once a month. They go to the pantry, they make peanut butter sandwiches, and they fill the pantry on the first Sunday of the month. So they will take all your donations from that wagon to the pantry on the first Sunday. If the wagon is not there, there are some Sundays that we don't have RE, like the weekend that we're at camp. There is a box underneath the table in the coffee hour room that has all the information on it, so you can just put your stuff in there and we'll grab it from there. Thanks.
The next deadline for paper raise right orders is today. If you need a form, see me. The next deadline to get your news and event dates into the monthly unifier for October is September 25th, so start thinking about what needs to go in for October. Registration for overnight or Saturday fall camp is closed. If you would like to spend a wonderful afternoon with us on Sunday, September 29th, you are welcome to join us at Camp Edwards in East Troy, Wisconsin. We will be having a church service about the wonder of trees at 10:30 a.m. You can spend the rest of the afternoon hiking the Marsh Boardwalk and Wooded Island or enjoying the community of our group. Contact Leanne for more information. Her easy-to-remember email is youth@obuuc.org. The OBUUC UU, the vote committee, has an upcoming opportunity to help get out the vote by writing postcards. First one is next Sunday before our 10 a.m. service downstairs, and you can do that downstairs. It's at 9 o'clock to 10. And the next one is Wednesday, September 25th from 10 a.m. to noon and 1 to 3 p.m. at Jay and Melissa Warner's home. The sign up for Jay and Melissa is in the coffee hour hall in Erman Hall. Racine Interfaith Coalition needs canvassers and drivers for the canvassers on Thursday, September 26th from 1 to 4 p.m. Contact Roseanne Mason for more information. Last Sunday, someone left cards on the door of our office, and I'm presuming they're for the Good Shepherd Committee. If anyone would like to take them for your card writing projects, come and see me. For more information and details about these announcements, along with others and community announcements, see your monthly email. Thank you to our volunteers today, our ushers, Nancy Hennessy and Colleen Wilkinson, our Zoom host, Lisa Scott Patak, our coffee hour hosts, Jan Carter and Jane Steffens. And also, thank you to those who brought treats last week that hadn't signed up. Please join us for coffee hour in Erman Hall following the service. For those joining us on YouTube, log into Zoom after the service for your coffee hour. The link is in today's email.
Oh, good morning. My name is Diane Lang. I'm so happy that you're all here this morning. Welcome. I will be your worship associate this morning for today's service. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. Please wave a welcome to our virtual guests joining us this morning. We gather this morning on the brink of a consequential election. Together, we're going to be exploring ways that we are protecting our democracy and how it is our sacred work. I would like to begin by extending a huge shout out to our national UUA's Side with Love leadership and for the resources and training that they have provided us. Thank you to all of you who have been part of the UU The Vote Planning Committee and showing up for events, doing the hard work of protecting our democracy. We also want to thank our community partners, some of whom will be here this morning that you'll hear from. We commit to the work of building greater justice in our world and resisting hate, fear, division, and the threat of fascism. As we gather, we remember that our mission as a church is to be a community of hope, one that challenges us to transform ourselves, promote love and justice, respect all faiths, and shepherd our planet. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, whoever you love, what other gifts and needs you bring, you are welcome here. We'll now have a chalice lighting, and Lila and Cody will be helping us. So we begin our time together with this sacred ritual, the lighting of our chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, and also today we brought the candle from the inspirational Congressman John Lewis. Let us also remember our namesake Olympia Brown in particular this morning, a pioneer feminist born in 1835 in a log cabin in Michigan. She became the first ordained woman of any faith. She organized tirelessly for over half a century to get women the right to vote. She was the only remaining member of the original suffragettes who was able to cast a ballot when women finally got the right to vote. Her daughter, Gwendolyn B. Willis, shared that Olympia's favorite quote was, "He who works in harmony with justice is immortal." We UUs have a long history of working for the right to vote for all. Please rise as you are able and join us in singing "The Tide is Rising" by Rabbi Shoshana Friedman. Thank you.
And now it's time for the message for all ages, so if all the children and those young at heart can come on forward. So the book I'm going to read to you this morning is called Put Your Shoes On and Get Ready by Raphael Warnock. And some people might have that name as something that they've heard before. Probably not the kids, but people that pay attention to elections probably know it. So, put your shoes on and get ready. Every morning when I woke up, I was greeted with the very same thing. Get up, get dressed, get ready, my dad said. For what? I asked one morning. Well, I don't know yet, Raphael, my dad said, but there's something for you to do, so put your shoes on and get ready. So I put my shoes on. So I put my dad's shoes on, actually. Those are for my job, my dad told me. You got to put the right shoes on for the work you're meant to do. During the year, that meant I wore my tennis shoes to school. But in the summer, I wore my boots and worked for my dad's business, hauling rusted cars out of the junkyard to make money for the family. During the week, my father lifted broken cars, and on Sundays, he had a different job as a preacher. He lifted people who felt broken. He saw value in both. I wondered if one day, when I was older, if I might wake up on Sundays, put on shiny lace-up shoes, and give weekly sermons just like my dad. But I didn't have shoes for that job yet. I wasn't ready. After church came Sunday dinner at the fellowship hall. Everybody had a place at the table and everybody had their shoes to wear. Being part of community filled our souls. Sometimes I wore slippers while I listened to stories my parents told me. They told me how when they were children, black people and white people had to remain separate and couldn't use the same bathrooms or water fountains. They couldn't go to the same schools or play in the same playgrounds. Even though they were just kids, my mom and dad knew this was unfair. When he was a young man, my dad was drafted into the Army. Despite his service to the country, he still wasn't treated fairly. Once, he was forced to give up his seat on a bus while he was wearing his soldier's uniform. When I got older, I watched my brothers play football. Their cleats were sharp and made for speed. My sister and the other girls on the flag team wore their dancing shoes. Their cheerleading shoes helped them jump high off the ground. When I got even older, I joined the band. I loved game days when I would get up, put on my uniform and my white marching shoes and get ready to play my baritone horn. When I got my high school diploma, I marched across the stage in the nicest pair of shoes I owned. It took years of dedication to make it across that stage, and it would take years more to get where I dreamed of going. The first step was attending Morehouse College. I was walking around in shoes that pinched my feet, but I knew I wanted to be a preacher like my father and like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Eventually, I became the senior pastor of Ebenezer Baptist Church, the same church that Dr. King once led. I've been honored to follow in his footsteps and my father's footsteps too. Whether I'm serving breakfast or leading a march, I always wake up, get dressed, put my shoes on, and get ready for the day. Part of my job is helping others by being an activist in order to make the world a better place. I decided I wanted to try on another pair of shoes too. I wanted to find another way to help people, so I decided to run for the United States Senate. Now, as Georgia's first black senator, I fight for the people, all the people. Every morning, I get up, get dressed in my suit and tie with my U.S. Senator pin on my lapel, put on my lace-up shoes, and get ready to fight for people's rights. Before I leave work, I try to help my kids put on their shoes, but they prefer to play in mine. Once playtime is over, I tell them, just like my dad told me, you have to put on shoes that fit your feet, shoes for the person and the job you're meant to be. And that's what I tell all the young people I meet. No matter who you are, There's a job that's right for you. So it's time to get up, get dressed, put your shoes on, and get ready. So this morning, you all, or some of you anyway, are going to be able to help because this service is about voting, and that was one of the things that got Senator Warnock to become a senator, first black senator in Georgia, which was a huge thing when he was elected. Huge. It was huge. So there are some baskets over here with suckers in them and some little things to remind everyone to vote. So if you want to come up, and we're going to pass out the suckers to all the people here, and we're going to not do the children's blessing today. When you're done passing out suckers, I'll meet you at the door so you can hand the baskets to me.
Thank you so much. Be freedom licks. Next, we're going to see a video that has been prepared by Joe Pooroy, and you'll see people you recognize who are speaking about why it's important to vote, and you'll see some people that will be new friends for you to listen to.
Miss Kenosha 2024, and I want to encourage everyone to get out and vote, as what happens in government directly affects how we live our lives. It's personal. My best voting advice for Wisconsin voters is to visit myvote.wi.gov, where you can register to vote, find your polling place, access a sample ballot, and more. Remember, your vote matters because your voice matters. I'll see you at the polls.
I vote because I'm a member of a community that has been denied access to voting for many years. Very many people have risked their lives, sometimes even losing their lives, in order to secure the right to vote for me. I vote out of respect for those people, out of a commitment to honor them, and out of a need to have my voice heard in decisions about the future of this country. I hope you will consider voting as well.
Hello, my name is Rachel, and I vote because I am a woman and I have 2 daughters. It's very concerning to me what is going on in this country and how women's rights are being rolled back. And I am not about to let my children grow up in a world where they have less rights than I had when I was their age. And that is why I vote.
To see change. I vote to see change in generations. I vote to see things happen for people after me. That's why I vote.
deserve, that we all should have our voices heard and participate in the process. So please vote.
I've always been a battler for women's equality, even when I was a girl. And that is why I've always been a voter.
Please vote this year. There's a lot on this table and your vote is important. Please vote.
Hi, I'm Sonia Miranda, and I'm a political student. In my opinion, why you should vote is because I feel like it gives you freedom, and I feel like you should vote so you can feel like you're participating in picking who your president is.
Yeah, my name is Maximilian. I'm also a high school student at Warlick. Voting can be really important because your ideals may be different than a president, right? So there's many candidates, and you should vote for who you think is right. Right is very general, but there's your right.
I vote because I have a right to voice my choice.
Can we thank Joe for the hours of work? And to all the people that participated in making that. There are many ways that we give to the life of our church, and the monetary offering is just one of these ways. Each month, we partner with a local organization and share the money we collect. Our partner for the month of September is Impact 211 program. Impact 211's program services provide a 24/7, 365 days of the year central access point for people who need help for those first steps towards regaining stability. During times of personal crisis or community disaster, this free confidential helpline and online resource directory makes it easy for residents of southeastern Wisconsin to get connected to information. In Milwaukee, Waukesha, Kenosha, Racine, Ozaki, Washington, Dodge, Jefferson, Kenosha, Racine, simply by dialing 211, you are accessing services. For all of the ways that you can donate, please see the back of your order of service, and thank you in advance for your generosity. Next, we'll hear from Alejandro, the offertory music, Amazing Grace. That was just beautiful. Thank you. We're going to do our joys and sorrows now. Part of being in community is sharing our lives with one another. When we gather, we bring with us the joys and the sorrows that are in our hearts and minds, and being here reminds us we do not have to hold them alone. At this time, in this sacred space, we invite you to come to the mic if you wish to share your joy or sorrow, or you may choose to just light a candle. Today, there will be several UU The Vote volunteers that will be sharing a few short testimonials, and then the rest of you are invited to join. Please come forward if you're going to be sharing.
One of the greatest joys of hosting the Get Out the Vote party was the hard work and seeing everybody working together. But then, at the very end, we held up all the cards and letters that had been written, and it was like, oh my God, how did this happen? It was this huge number, and it was just such a wonderful, like, together we could do this.
I just want to say it's been a joy this week. I've gotten to do something each and every day to try to defend my democracy. So I'm really excited.
Morning, everybody. Joy just to be here, first off, but wanted to share two very quick joys. One, Friday was my and my wife's 10-year wedding anniversary. So very, very grateful to her for not giving up on me, though she's been given many opportunities to. But Monday was also the Racine Public Library's 128th birthday. So just a few good anniversaries this week.
Well, we will light one final candle for the joys and sorrows that are in the hearts of our beloveds joining us online. All are invited then to stand as you are able as we sing There Is a Love by Rebecca Parker.
Here are some words from John Lewis. You may have heard of him. Do not get lost in the sea of despair. Be hopeful, be optimistic. Our struggle is not the struggle of a day, a week, a month, or a year. It is the struggle of a lifetime. Never, ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble.
Good morning, everyone. I am going to share with you Shirley's words about UU the Vote. She is on Zoom, I believe, so hi, Shirley. When I registered to vote on August 28, 1963, I went to my precinct captain's home and signed a piece of paper. That's it. That was all I had to do. At that very moment, the precinct captain was watching the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. give his I Have a Dream speech on her big black and white TV. I have never forgotten how easy it was for me to register and the contrast between that and the millions of black Americans, mostly in the South. The 1960s were a violent time that I remember well. I remember the beatings, lynchings, and cross burnings that happened because black Americans were insisting on the right to vote without poll taxes, literacy tests, and other impediments that were part of Jim Crow laws enacted in 1890 until the Voting Rights Act was signed in 1965. So black Americans in the South have been able to vote only within most of our lifetimes, and there are now other schemes designed to restrict voting. I remember when Mrs. Viola Luiso and Reverend James Reeb were murdered, two white UUs who were in the South working for voting rights for black Americans. And I remember when the bodies of Cheney, Goodwin, and Schwimmer and many others were found, there was no protection from police. Many of them also belonged to the Ku Klux Klan. I also know that in the 1800s and the early 1900s, women were harassed, beaten, force-fed, and raped as they worked for women's suffrage. I should say white women's suffrage because, sad to say, there were elements of racism in that struggle too. We know that Reverend Olympia Brown left our church to travel in the Midwest, and she worked tirelessly for votes for women. White women were finally able to vote in 1920. And to put that into perspective, that was the year my mother was born. I think of these people every time I vote, and I continue to vote for candidates who respect the worth and dignity of all people and the democratic process that our government is based on. Please remember to vote on Tuesday, November 5th. Or if you are like me and need to vote from home, get your absentee ballot and make sure to mail it in on time. We refuse to let people in. We rise up, we won't back down. We're in this till the end. All right, so now instead of being Shirley, I'm going to be Brana and Sandy, who I also believe are on Zoom up there. So this is from Brana and Sandy. One of our UU principles is to respect the inherent worth and dignity of all living things. Fight is a word UUs do not like to hear, but standing up for what we believe in is a must. Sitting on the sidelines or in the stands is not an option. That includes speaking out against cuts to Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and an end to the Affordable Care Act, each very important to the elderly and the poor. We need to speak out against a ban on contraceptives and IVF, allowing people to choose when or if to start a family. Most importantly, we need to voice opposition to a ban on all abortions without exception. We don't affirm the worth of a person if it's okay for a young girl impregnated by rape or incest to be forced to carry a child to term. We don't affirm the worth and dignity of a person if a mother's experiencing a miscarriage can't be treated by a doctor until near death, or worse, bleeds out in the parking lot. We all want stability for our families, fair wages, working conditions, housing, food at reasonable prices, free and discounted lunches in our schools. We need to live by our faith by supporting curriculums that teach the accurate history of our country rather than banning books. by defending marriage equality and the protection of all immigrants seeking refuge here, rather than claiming that those people are the troublemakers. Stand up and shout, no more than you or me. Speak out, set an example for others to do the same. Children are watching, children are listening, children are learning. Teach them the importance of protecting Mother Earth by ending drilling in the Arctic and other pristine places, as well as addressing issues involving climate change deniers. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. We must defend American democracy from those who would exploit its freedoms to bring democracy to its end. It will never happen here. Do you believe this? Do not assume that those who came to power through our democratic process will defend it. We are an engaging and transformative congregation, so get going. Do whatever you are able to do in the next 50 days. Call, drive, knock doors, talk to neighbors and friends, vote. When the fire of commitment sends our minds and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
We resist, we refuse to let hatred in. We rise up, we won't back down. We're in this till the end.
Hi, my name is Deborah Karp, and I am Director of Community and Business Engagement at UW Parkside. As part of my job, I serve as the champion, or the advisor, for the Andrew Goodman Ambassadors. The Andrew Goodman Foundation is a national organization that seeks to make young voices and votes a powerful force in our democracy. Now, earlier, somebody referred to Andrew Goodman. Andrew Goodman, the foundation, was founded by the parents of Andrew Goodman. He, as someone mentioned earlier, he was a civil rights activist. He was a college student, actually for a short time at UW-Madison. He joined the Freedom Summer down in Mississippi to register Black people to vote, and was murdered by the KKK with two others, James Chaney and Michael Schwerner. And so his parents founded this organization to support and promote civic engagement among college students. The Andrew Goodman Ambassadors at UW Parkside, we are a nonpartisan organization. We have 5 students who are paid by the Andrew Goodman Foundation. And the way we get out the vote and the way we have been able to achieve higher rates of voting among our students than other students, percentage-wise across the country, are first of all through events like this Tuesday. You may not know this, but it's National Voter Registration Day. We are going to have a table and a photo booth and lots of fun for students to come, and we will teach them how to register themselves to vote. We've also done voter simulations, debate watch parties, other events. We table pretty regularly on campus in high traffic areas. We provide presentations. The students provide presentations in the residence halls, in their classes, in student organizations. Having the students hear from other students seems to be a really good strategy for getting them, compelling them to register. We also, this year for the first time, my students made this amazing video and an info sheet that our faculty can embed into their online courses, so that we can not only reach students who are in those classes who come face-to-face, but also a significant percentage of our students who only come virtually. They take classes online. Another thing I'd like to mention, which is not my thing, but it's part of our university, and that's the election experience, which is put on by our College of Social Sciences and Professional Studies. This is open to the public, series of events. Every Wednesday at noon, there's a talk about the election. There's a few evening events as well. So take a look on the Parkside website, put in election experience, and you can get all kinds of information about it. It's really important to educate college students and other young people. The youth vote is our future.
Our next speaker is another student from Horlick High School. Her name is Yarly Delgado, and she is one of the youth empowered in the struggle, which is a leadership development for Voces de la Frontera. And Yarly will speak today, but she's also volunteered to help do voter registration at Horlick next week. Yarly.
We are high school students. We cannot vote, but you can. We understand that your vote counts for all of us, and we need you to vote. We know that voting is important because fairness matters. We know that voting is important because universal public education is virtual to a thriving community. We know that freedom to be who you are matters. We know that our future depends on how well we can deal with climate change. We know that our immigration system needs to be fixed. We need to rethink our justice system. Our food system needs to be fixed. Our transportation system needs a massive update. Democracy must be protected and expanded. We need adults to be adults and vote for a positive change in our future.
Morning. Last week we went to see John Nichols at Case High School, my old stomping ground, and afterwards we met him in the parking lot, and I expressed my concern that at that event I seemed to be one of the youngest people there, except the organizer, which is kind of scary. So he said, don't worry about it. Young people will find their way. They are figuring it out. So we decided to bridge that gap between old people, or us, elders, and young people. And we wanted to get voters, basically. So we all have different ways of getting information. Like young people are, way different than us. And the media companies have used that to separate us, and we're losing common understanding and connection. So we came up with an idea called Voter 1000. We are using our present connections with former students to provide information and assistance in voting. For alumni who are willing and interested, we're meeting with them in person, and then together with them, we're organizing parties or events, whatever they think their group that they connect with most would like. Because what we want them to do is to pick 5 people and support them in the voting process. So it's not just us, it's not just them, it's teaching them how to ripple it out, right? So for this election, the goal is to support a large group in finding 5 people and making them a plan to vote.
While it sounds easy, it requires developing a year-round relationship with people. This is something any of us can do within our friends' circles. Make sure people know they are supported to vote, know how to get a mail-in ballot, and where to vote early. And they need to develop a plan, an individualized plan that works for them. It's important to do all this work in advance so that people aren't stopped by more pressing needs like childcare, work, transportation, illness, exhaustion, etc. The idea is to make this a fun social activity rather than just another thing on the to-do list, and to also learn the importance of it. This is a long-term plan that we're working on. This election, maybe 1,000 people, next election, even more as the ripples go out. This is training people to pass along the responsibility of civic engagement. It's not just this one election, it's every election. And our goal is to get this year is to get a voting plan for 1,000 people.
We extinguish this chalice flame, but the fire and light of this community cannot be extinguished, for it lives in each one of us, reminding us that we are connected and held always in a larger love.
May we all go forth with a renewed sense of spirit and commitment to building the world that we dream of living in. Let us appreciate our partners and each other doing the sacred work of protecting our democracy and building a multiracial, just society. Let us each take time to care for ourselves and for each other. May the deep, profound love and commitment of prophetic leaders that inspire us and the work that we share fill us with hope and courage as we organize to defeat despair and hatred. Let's get into good trouble together as we vote our values and love more deeply during these challenging times. May it be so.